movement, big environment, and they are well-funded, very well organized, intentional, focused, driven, goal-oriented, and their main focus is to prematurely shut down the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. Because if they can do that, offshore's off the table, ANWR's off the table permanently, and frankly, most oil and gas exploration in Alaska is off the table. The biggest sting the environmental movement has ever suffered was the passing of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline back when Spiro Agnew broke the tie as VP. And that movement, so it's no coincidence that we're seeing such a decrease in volume in the pipeline. That movement has, members of that movement have not only infiltrated our state, they've infiltrated our legislature, and that those people are working with the sole intent of prematurely shutting down this pipeline, because under federal law, once that pipeline ceases to flow, it has to be
taken apart,
taken down. Is there any legitimacy to that movement or that conspiracy?
I think so, and I'll tell you why. We were just talking about this new documentary, Frack Nation. The two documentary makers, you just did another film called Not Evil, Just Wrong, basically countering Al Gore's. We screened it at UAA a couple years ago.
We had them on the show. They're from Ireland, right?
Yeah, they're from Ireland, and in Phelim. I still talk to them on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
They told me about this global environmental summit they went to, and they expected huge protests and all this craziness. And here's what they said that'll stick with me for the rest of my life. They said, you won't find crazy environmental protesters at the G20 summits or anything like that, because the extremists are in the room now. And I mean, it sent like a chill down my spine the first time I heard it, but they're in suits now, and they're the ones in there, crafting policy and stuff. And she said, the extremists are in the room now.
So, Jason, does that mean that we have members of our legislature who clearly are adopting, I don't know what their motives is, can't see inside their heart, but there's no disputing that what they're promoting and pushing keeps all out of the pipeline.
I'll tell you.
So my question is, are these folks a part of this movement, and do they know it, and they want to see this pipeline shut down?
Well, I'll tell you a story. Betty Davis, who was my senator when on the east side of Anchorage, who's running against I think it's Anna Fairclough, right?
Well, she's running in a primary against Harry Crawford.
Sure. So Betty Davis was at a little community meeting, and Betty Davis basically said, I think we should just get ready for an Alaska without oil.
You're always bubbly, you're always happy, you're always cheery, always upbeat. What's the deal about that?
Not always. Not always.
Most times.
I do have my moments.
Most times.
I am human.
Why is that? Why are you always perky and cheery?
It's a choice.
And smiling.
It is nothing but a choice.
And optimistic and...
It's a choice.
Why do you choose that? Why don't you choose? I just touched my face, by the way. Why don't you choose to be down sometime?
Sometimes I do make that choice.
Yeah.
And I feel horrible. I feel miserable. I have no hope. I don't like people. I don't like myself.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty miserable place to be.
It is.
So then
terrible.
I just make a different choice.
And so you just choose that.
And I just choose to look at the world with a different filter.
So what do you, explain to me how you make that choice. What do you do?
Well, I think both realities exist at the same time.
Yeah.
One where everything is going wrong and nothing is working, and one where things are going right and things are good and the glass is half full.
Yeah.
And where I put my focus on really begins to determine my attitude, my emotions, my outlook, the decisions I make, the direction I go.
So you ignore the problems. You ignore the downside of life. Because it's everyone, I don't care how rosy your life is, how wonderful your life is, how marvelous your life is, everyone has things in their life that they wish were not so.
Yes.
Whether it's finances, where they live, their spouse, their kids, their neighbors, their job, their body, their whatever. Everybody has something that they wish were not so.
And I wouldn't say I ignore it, because I do acknowledge it. I just choose not to put my focus and intention, and I choose not to live there. I choose to live in the space and with the things that are going well, and the potential and hope that's with things.
Isn't it safe to say that that's unusual?
I don't know.
That most people do focus on the problems in life?
I would say a big part of people do, yes.
And that's why people are unhappy. That's why Americans, there's a drug epidemic, prescription drugs, alcohol, whatever the drug may be, working too hard, pornography, whatever. When I say drug, it's deflection. Everyone has to deflect from their miserable lives. Mm-hmm. And you say that's because we don't focus on the right things.
Well, we don't, and a lot of the times it's because we don't know how to emotionally deal with things that are going on in our lives, especially if it's traumatic to us.
Isn't it true, though, that there is a seductive quality that it actually is kind of comforting to feel sorry for yourself, to focus on the negative? Don't you kind of get some satisfaction from that? Where it's like, woe is me, and there's comfort in that.
You are literally addicted to your emotions on a cellular level. When you have a thought,
Yes.
and it translates.
Now, most people don't know what cellular.
Well, I'm about to explain it.
Okay.
This is how it works in our physical body. So just how you can be addicted to substances like drugs, alcohol, or whatever that's filling a need.
This is what you believe.
Right.
Okay. Start from the beginning again. Cellular level. What does that mean?
It means when you have a thought, when you're thinking something, and let's say it's negative, and you attach an emotion to that. You're depressed. You're angry, you go into self-pity.
Yeah.
What that does is it stimulates your hypothalamus.
Excuse me?
It stimulates your hypothalamus,
What's a hypothalamus?
In the back of your brain.
What is that?
I think it's a gland.
Okay.
I don't know if it'd be considered an organ, but it's a gland in your brain. And what that does is it releases chemicals into your body through receptor sites that literally lock into every cell of your body, that emotion. And so your cells begin to form receptor sites for those emotions.
Yeah.
And those addictions. And so in order for those cells to keep replicating, it needs more of that emotion. So your body literally begins to crave those emotions.
Yeah. Okay, so you get used to it and your body gets...
You get used to it.
It's just like you get used to alcohol.
Yep.
Like when an alcoholic quits, they get the shakes. Mm-hmm. So your physical body expects depression, and if you don't continue to be in that state of depression, you're uncomfortable and uneasy.
Exactly.
You get addicted to it.
Exactly. And so, when at first when you decide, okay, I'm going to start making different choices, I need to get myself out of this depression, and you start leaning towards having hope and having different thought patterns, you notice how uncomfortable you become?
Yes.
You are literally in withdrawal because all you know is a certain emotion.
You want to go back to the comfortable.
Exactly. You want to go back to what's comfortable. So it's almost like you have to detox yourself and learn to operate at a different emotional level.
Because we're comfort-seeking individuals.
Yes, we are.
And so once you get out of that situation, this is what you believe, of always feeling sorry for yourself and focus on the negative, that will become a new way of life for you. Mm-hmm. And then when you go back to that, it won't feel comfortable.
It doesn't feel comfortable, and you're able to snap out of it a lot quicker.
And that state of mind that you're describing comes through practice.
Practice.
Daily choice.
Discipline.
It's like a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
Yes.